this is gonna be truly life-changing for everybody, not just in business. And I feel like just with Bitcoin in 2010, like nobody's aware of what's actually happening. Only a small minority taking advantage. And so many people could do life-changing things, get more peace, success, productivity, everything into their life, and they're just not aware of it. Like, it's crazy. And this video is gonna be, you know, of course aged very shortly because it's adapting so fast, but it's just my outlook, not only on like what I'm doing right now and implementing it, what I've done in the past and where I see the dangers, but also the skills you need to survive in the future. But also it's like Bitcoin 2010, right? Where okay, it's like adaption and then a hacker attack and then regulations, and goes up and down, but you don't see the bigger picture and where the end is gonna lead to. So today I'm gonna try to give you a bigger picture of what I think, where it's going, and the opportunities and all of that. So again, I'm just, you know, the child in front of Disneyland, because it's like everything is just so, I'm just exploring it right now, you know. But the last few months I've been figuring out these video generation, image generation, image to video, text image to video with, you know, things like Google Flow. But then also in the last 2 weeks, since I worked as a creator for one guy, I got access to Google, to Runway, and Runway has these workflows, you know, where you can basically prompt Claude and ChatGPT, Gemini, all these text models, language models, to generate images, and these images can go to a video, or you can basically, you know, take a video, transcript it, put it into text, your own voice, and then, you know, lip sync or just generate a video, and you can press a button and 2 hours later you have like 300, you know, it's like crazy. Like even with Google Flow, where there's no automation, I just made like 300 shorts in like, you know, 300 reels in like 2 hours, generating all the hooks and clips, because once you have the prompts down, you can reuse it for so many things, and automation is just gonna make it even crazier. So then I of course saw people hitting like last 2 days, you know, it's all happening very quickly. I saw people hitting like 100k days, consistently 50 to 100k days, and he said, okay, he's using automations, and he's running like, you know, 12 brands at once, and I can really see that. Because it's not just, you know, the crappy AI stuff with like emotional things. It's also like actually not that you could differentiate anymore. Realistic product videos, you can make everything with AI right now, and it's only gonna get more and more realistic. It's gonna get adopted to more things. I'm gonna talk about some more AI things that I see in the future coming for features and stuff. So a lot of things that you can automate, and that is also very cheap, you know. Like the guy I worked for as a creator, he had like this 7-day free trial 2 days ago, that he said, okay, here you can have it, the first free that sign up. So I was like, okay, Claude, co-work, let's get it, you know. It's like $20, but I even got a free trial, so now I have to try it. And then it's like, you know, it's like so many crazy things you can do. Basically, Claude can get access to your entire device, to your computer, but you can also control your computer, you know, while you are away with your phone. And as long as the computer is active, Claude can work for you, like everything, to all your files, all your programs, all your things you use. Today, for example, yesterday I said, okay, just to try things out, you know, like Claude, give me like search up the 10 biggest trending, you know, movie releases and game releases for this year. And I could even have scheduled it, you know, saying like, do this like in every January, put this, and then put it into my calendar, you know, saying like exactly where the marketing for that movie should start and should end. And that's in my calendar now, like with no work, you know. Claude access to my calendar, and people who implemented the calendar structure that I talked about on my channel, or that took always notes about things and or about, you know, their life, they now build a data feeding machine, and they can implement that all into Claude. Today I give Claude access to my Gmails and said, okay, search up on every account that I have on Gmail, search up all the bills, that I got from Shopify, like anything, everything that you think is a bill. And it's searched up, like, made like 20 folders, put it all into my download folder. I could have even said, okay, put it into the taxes, so it's completely crazy already. You can decide what you can give it access to, and we are becoming more and more a cyborg of AI versus AI, implement, or you just get outworked, because I mean, we are going to be so much efficient. And of course you can now still film videos yourself, but if you understand the skill already now, and I mean, that's the direction where we are going, because if I can test 10 products in one day and you can only test one, then of course my data is already gonna be better. I'm gonna get more data quickly. And now I even looked into more, runways, like super good. You can do that without credits in explore mode. It's just taking a bit longer, but when I combine that with Claude, I can basically let Claude work like 8 hours a day on my computer generating videos. I can give Claude basically an Instagram account. Then he's gonna go through the links, put every link into a transcript, and then he has the scripts. Or he can even just download the video file for the audio, right? And then, he has the script, he has the video style, the sign, the start frame, and then he can basically generate it with my own character that I describe to him, or where I give him a reference image. So I can already see myself posting in Claude. Code can, of course, also make the entire shop, So there's already an automation where Claude can search products now, even on a burner, like if you really want that, with like scroll. You can set different skills, you can do like /Gmails, and then I could say, okay, every time I say /Gmails, you should look through my Gmails and give me a summary. Or you can even schedule this, so like people are already talking to Claude like it's Jarvis. I don't know if some of you seen the TikToks and stuff where people go, "Good morning, Jarvis," they clap, and then Claude gives them like a summary of how's their business going, like, "Oh, I did that, this and that, and you got two new customer mails, and they're complaining about that, so I implemented that, made it ready for you to approve, and this task was a bit complicated, so I gave it to that sub-agent who has a different, skill set, and he gave me this back, and we should expect this in 2 hours." And like, it's like basically your employees, and it's super cheap, like, $20 a month. The max plan is $100. You can buy more credits. Like, it's super efficient, and I'm already gonna look into so much opportunities of automating my life, because what's really mattering now is keeping a clear focus, a clear mind, getting away from all the noise. This is gonna allow you to filter out all the noise and be like, okay, give me a summary of this. I don't want to look into my Gmails. Tell me, this and that, and you basically have to learn now this is the skill that really matters, how to decide and how to see the future, how to give the right instructions and the right prompts, right? Because my prompts once were messed up, and then Claude didn't only do the Gmails from the last 10 months for taxes, but also for the last 5 years, and I got like my Clash Royale and Minecraft bills, So prompting, and then also, it's not about selling AI. I think the future is not gonna be like, hey, look, here's my AI service for your company, and you can implement that right now. It's more like, I can provide this, and you don't have to know my backend. It's not. I don't have to sell you AI video editing. I can just say, I'm selling AI, I'm selling video editing, and I'm just gonna be faster and cheaper than other competitors because I have access to this AI. So providing value is gonna be way more like accessible for everybody and easier in that sense, because it's just a big market gap right now, and everybody's gonna, because AI is gonna improve, right? So either you're gonna get half the price for the same effort, same work of AI power, or or like same price and double of the AI power, because AI is gonna improve, so it's gonna get cheaper, more access, and there's this big market gap right now of people just not using it. And now that I looked into Claude, like, of course I'm gonna get the full version, and there's gonna be more features in the future. And you know, Elon Musk had this Excel example of like an Excel sheet run by like an automated Excel sheet is always going to compete like a lot of humans in a, you know, 10-story building doing manual calculations. And even if only one human does these manual calculations, you're going to be slower than the automated sheet. So it's all going to be about outsourcing and giving the right directions and providing a value and having like this AI as a back end sort of thing. You know, not the misconception of, oh, I'm going to sell AI. I mean, this is legit what you can do, but also it's going to improve all the other things. It's going to improve productivity on everything. And of course, we're going to have to make sure that it's not going in the, you know, getting in the wrong hands. Careful, you know, how much are you going to implement? Maybe not in your brain from the very beginning. I also feel like commoditized services and products are going to be worse off because, you know, people have more, you know, they are gonna be more like, oh, all this AI stuff, you know, and then they can basically check. And when your product looks the same like on other websites, I feel like you really have to build now unique stuff, build a personal brand that AI can't replace. In that sense, this is one of the things. Build, you know, communities is something AI can't replace. I also feel like it's gonna be more into things like, for example, YouTube, right? There's this possibility that I see, for example, that YouTube, you upload your raw material and then basically there's going to be a personalized editing for every viewer based on what style of video they like. You know, so you have all these possibilities and a lot of things that you can sell to companies or to customers. Now it's an entire new opportunity, but there's also people preparing for jobs that won't exist in the future, because if an AI has 99% or you know, close to 100 accuracy to saving someone's life in a hospital, then at some point it's gonna be like almost illegal for a human doctor. I'm just gonna be focusing now on really keeping my mind, like this is what it's always been all about, keeping my mind clear, having a clear vision of what to do, no distractions and a focus, being able to prompt and see the vision, and then, you know, automate all these like distractions of like, you know, always some days I had to sit there 2 hours and answer to comments, you know, where to buy. Now, like I could now just say, okay, every time, Claude, you see a new comment on this video, tell him to send him the link. I could now feed this raw recording to Claude, and you know, then he could search up YouTube how the thumbnail style, how the title for these videos usually is, paste on my transcript. He could cut it in DaVinci, then he could export it, put it on YouTube, schedule it, and done, right? It's all about right now taking the drones down. It's already computers against computers. So what I see is not only AI competing, but also, you know, humans, you know, because they have already all the data, the AI stuff on your computer if you want to, and then they can just, you know, if someone sends you a WhatsApp message, an email, your AI can reply to their AI based on their questions, what they need for their calendar or their tasks. So it's all going to be AI back and forth, adapting to it like a cyborg, and humans actually focusing on, you know, now it's going to be super important to do time management, what to do on the right things, having the systems in place, cleaning up your computer, making everything super organized. So, you know, super efficient, like no disruption basically for the AI. So I put an entire text about my situation and goals, you know, who I am, all my accounts, my email structure, my financial structure, my plans and my systems overall, what I'm doing, the different things, my strategies, my mindset behind, like the ideas behind the task, what I want to use Claude for. My focus is gonna be, I said, you know, you can also tell me things if you need something and think like contrary and, you know, just concrete, specific truth, and how I structure my notes and what I expect, you know, from Claude with like helping with my decisions in what way and all that stuff, like way more. And now I asked him, okay, now you got all this information from me that it's like saved in the settings, and instantly like recommendations also looked into my calendar, you know, saying the morning routine can be a lot of outsourced with things like the breathing, you know, where I can kind of check all the little things that I want, so I have more focus in there, and actually important things, the manual things like typing in store revenue, COGS, refunds, the customer support when receiving something, and he can even ask me, like, I didn't even think about this, like at the end of the day he can ask me, like, based on my calendar, can ask me like 3 or 4 important questions that gonna maybe reflect more than just me reflecting, and I don't even know what effect to reflect on. So that's gonna give me more of an overview of what actually happening, like making things more efficient. I can put my entire framework now into Claude, you know, of how I analyze the stock, and then get a very like get basically 90% of the information and can instantly decide, okay, is this something I want to look into further, you know? Knowing how to prompt, how to use proof of concept, you know, telling the AI exactly, you know, what steps, like, for example, should you rather create an avatar yourself or take a proof from that, you know, like describe me that character they used and then change it a bit so you can do it, finding the right products, you know, ignoring the noise, basically. Of course, gotta be careful, you know, if you give AI access to your, like, credit card and stuff, then it's something different. And also, you know, you could implement it already, like doing your paid ads for you and stuff. But I feel like it's all about gonna be volume, because quality is already, like, of course there's gonna be a learning curve, right? Like, even when I did these image and videos the last few months, it's been like, okay, I learned, for example, you should say asymmetrical, raw, cool light, that it looks more realistic, you know, could make it a little bit grainy, off center, shaky movements, not, you know, that they get spontaneously into the frame, that, you know, they don't always stare in the camera like an AI character, but also while talking, looking around and like shaking the leg, whatever it is. And it's super realistic right now. Like some AI videos, it's already like you can't really tell. You can't like actually not tell. Get more accuracy in my decisions. I don't know, HN maybe for the talking head videos. I'm not sure. Maybe I only use Runway. And what I'm doing right now, I used to do like complete video generations with audio instantly. Right now what I'm doing is I'm doing start frames and then start frame to video. I feel like in the future there's also more in the TikTok shop direction where people scroll and then buy. You know, people won't go like on a shopping site anymore. I feel like it's gonna be all integrated to our lives, even when phones get replaced with like glasses only or with the brain chip or whatever it's going to be in the future. You know, like some businesses, I was thinking about this. Like right now I'm making these, you know, 50 to 100 euros a day with reposting from Insta to YouTube, because this guy is not posting on YouTube, right? So I was thinking about this because I got one comment saying, are you a bot account? Are you reposting his videos? And I was like, wait a second, I can do that with a bot? Like, I could just code like super quickly. You could even tell Claude to code himself, you know? You could say like, Claude, write me a skill for yourself and then save the skill and give it like slash YouTube. And then every time you enter slash YouTube, or do it every day at, you know, 7, post these videos or whatever. And then he could just scan through TikTok and Insta, then take their usernames and see who is not already on YouTube, and, you know, searching it up. Like I could see like Claude's little cursor moving and stuff, you know, and downloading my stuff and you can work simultaneously, you know, on the device. I feel like, you know, you saw it in the stock market, software companies going down because some of them have a justified fear because they will be replaced by AI, you know. If you can make videos easier, or you don't need as much people, and then you know, for generating one video, because uh, AI agents, you know, will do that either in combination or fully AI, you know, or in combination with humans. There's gonna be much more possibilities in your day, because you can just now outsource anything. Like, you know, you would have only had like one business, but now you can say like every time, for example, you gave a video for your, if you are, you know, if you're leading a sales team and you give them a video as instructions, and it's very poorly cut because you don't have a lot of time and it's only for your employees anyways. Now you could say, okay, Claude, here's the video. Now you could even start, you know, a little like mentoring channel on the side. you know, so you have way more opportunity to monetize things. I could say, okay, you have access to all my data right now, create me a full, you know, business course, business mentorship out of this data. You know, like a lot more opportunity to out, and I'm gonna look into all these like things, how you can connect Claude, and also the browser access, of course, and not only, you know, analyzing you, for example, your when you run in the morning, your performance, but also you could say, okay, if I have like a good performance once, post it. Can basically be the CEO of your life, telling you, you know, where you should focus, putting tasks in your calendar, and AI is gonna exponentially get better with more hardware, more bots, farming data, you know, million bots, farming like so much data connecting to each other. But then also you have to decide what you want to consciously, you know, experience. For example, taking my discipline checklist. I want to do that, you know, it gives me like something for the soul, basically. And of course, companies and countries are competing with AI. It's gonna get more and more up. 1 point out of control is enough. So, but a lot of opportunity, and I'm gonna let you know as soon as I'm on to more.